All right, let's see if we. You wandered in at the right time. You're the only one in here, Kim. It's just me and you. If I'm actually live, we have to wait and see. Um, hey, Mars, what's going on? Good evening. By comparison, the last few weeks, I'm actually early. Out here at the cabin, I can start at 8 o'clock. All right. I can be seen and I can be heard. That's all I ask out of life. So yesterday, Malachi I was telling you, uh, you're live, all right. That rant a while ago proved that. Oh man, you know what? I just had to get that off my chest. It's been bugging me and bugging me and bugging me. So it's like, you know what? Let's just do it. I don't. I try not to do, a lot of controversial stuff on here, but every now and then it gets away from me. And I felt like talking. So that's what I did. Now, I will say this is kind of funny. That since that thing went live, because I do not, I try very hard not to curse on here or use the F bomb or any of that kind of stuff. I try hard not to, but I just had to let it go today. I wasn't worried about it. I was mad. And since that thing went live, I've lost, a dozen subscribers. I guess people got pissed off and decided to unsubscribe rather than listen to that. I'm like, okay, they'll be back. One of the things uh, I've always joked with Gail about, and the boys and everybody, is I am not an easy person to forget. People remember Joe. It's my whole life. It's been that way, and I'm a plank owner of the USS Nimitz, which means I was part of the commissioning ceremony, and they're having the decommissioning ceremony in Norfolk this year, Norfolk, Virginia. And Alex is going to be taking me out there for that decommissioning ceremony. And being a plank owner, we get little special things that we get to do. But I joined this Facebook group um, uh, that's for USS Nimitz plank owners. And when I joined the group, I introduced myself. I put up a couple pictures. I was part of the pre-com unit and in the photo lab, blah, blah, blah. And had a couple of my pictures up there. And a couple days ago, somebody commented on that post and said, I was in the photo lab. I remember those pictures. He said, I remember you. You were a funny guy. I'm like, dude, that was 50 years ago. I'm like, I'll be darned. Man, I couldn't believe it. Mountain Man, what's up, my friend? I got on 8 o'clock for you since you're old and you have to go to bed early. That canning book and stuff you need to post so we can get that and figure out non-refrigerated food service. Absolutely. Now, she did tell me that next week I should be getting the canner. And what I'm going to do is do a whole thing opening up the canner and talking about what an extremely wonderful gift that is. And I just feel so blessed to get something like that because I've been talking about it for a couple of years. I have to learn how to do this. And, they aren't cheap. I'm not going to say, they are not cheap to do that. So, Yeah, we all have to start learning how to do it. So I'm going to do some videos, like I said in my rant thing at the end of it. I'm going to do videos showing you how a non-canner, somebody who's never done it before, can do it, because I'm going to have her help. I'm going to have the book. You know, the first thing I'm going to do is can some green beans. Everybody says that's the easiest thing to do. Uh, so I'm going to do a video on how to prep it and how to, you know, what I know, and as I learn it and as I make mistakes. I'll show that so that you don't have to make the mistakes and you can learn right along with me. And we have some expert ones in my group, subscribers that are experts at it. So what I love about this channel is, you know, I do those videos and people will say, no, 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 you got to do it this way. That's one of the ways I learn how to do stuff. JM is easy. Yeah, I'm going to, you know, this is going to make me, I never really thought about it, but um, you mentioned this before. I'm going to now plant some blueberry bushes and blackberry bushes, you know, all that kind of stuff, so I can make that stuff. Hey, Mark, what's going on, my friend? You're so much further along on your dwelling than I. The weather in the upper P of Michigan has been rough. Oh, it has been. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. We're trying to get it going. I went through serious rain all week. I mean, there's just very little I could do out here. And today, man, talk about some massive thunderstorms rolling through. I lost the internet for a while. It came back on, then I lost it again. I was thinking I might not be able to do the live stream out here tonight. It was rough. Yeah, chicken prepper, what's going on, my friend? We've done some canning tomatoes, potatoes. It's kind of fun. I'm so looking forward to it. I can't wait to try it. I'm going to go uh, down to Jebbia's here in Wheeling and buy a whole thing of string beans, green beans, and I'm going to snap. I'm going to do all that stuff. And I'm going to can I think 7 quarts fit in this canner. And I'm going to do 7 quarts of green beans and see what happens. Hello, Joe. If at any time you need to rage, stack, just go ahead. I understand. Well, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. How's the finger doing? Hey, Frank. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Been canning for 3 years. Look forward to it every fall. Applesauce is my favorite to can. Yep. Yep. I love the applesauce too. So I'll be doing that. And I got my apple trees at home, and I just waste all of those apples every year. I mean, this year, for some reason, I mean, we had a bumper crop. There's a Chinese restaurant in downtown Wheeling, and they came by and knocked on the door and asked if they could pick the apples, right? I'm like, yeah, I have all you want, you know, and they got these big boxes and bags, you know, and they're picking all them apples. I have to look out. The guy took his shoes off and he's up in the tree picking apples. But we had so many, and now I'm going to be able to take those and actually can them and make applesauce and do that kind of stuff. I'm just so blessed that this person sent me this. I'm just tickled to death. How's the roof holding up? It's perfect. We got, I mean, no water at all. With all of this rain, no water at all in there. And I have to go down. I was going to go this week and pick up the roof panels to get ready to put new panels on the roof. But like I said in the video, I had to work all week, you know. From a job that was going to be 2 days or 3 days max a week, I work every day of the week. hydrogen peroxide, it'll be good as new. All right. I'm sorry. Yeah, I hate to say it, but I had to giggle when I read that comment. Chicken potato soup is my favorite. I've never had chicken potato soup, but the book is fantastic. Between the book and videos on YouTube, I think it's going to be a blast learning how to do this and getting to do it. All right. Farm On Foods, good evening and welcome back. Good to see you back here again, my friend. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, I'll tell you this. I had to do my first class this week, yesterday, in fact, training 2 new guards, right? So this is the first time I got to do all this training and explain all this stuff. I'm telling you what, I was a natural at it. Everybody was laughing and we just had a great time. I think it was pretty awesome. Want to learn how to can beef. Yeah, I'm going to try that. We'll experiment together. Joe, get a big food processor and a rotated apple and potato peeler. Oh, we have all that. We have food processors. I mean, we got a lot of kitchenware at the house. The only thing we didn't have was a canner because we never knew how to do it. But I got apple peelers and cores and just everything. 2 or 3 different food processors, big, KitchenAid stand mixers. We got it all. Oh, you can a lot of hamburger. Yes, I'm going to try that. And chicken breast. Because, we find deals on chicken breast. And I'll buy as much of that as I can, and then I'll learn to can it instead of just putting it in the freezer. I imagine actual proper canning of it, it lasts a lot longer than just being in freezer bags in the freezer. I remember my dad used to butcher hogs and hang the hams, salted in gunny sacks. Nice. Malachi's Corner. Just remember this tip. Add a tablespoon of cream of tartar to canner water to keep it from staining. I'll be darned. All right. Now, chicken, pork, beef, all cans good. That's great because like I said, that's the stuff I'm going to be doing. That's prepping to me. That was a big part of prepping that I was missing out on by not knowing how to do that. And that's why over the last couple of years I've been making a point. I have to learn this. I have to get this, and I have to learn how to do this just so I can teach people. Drive some cut-resistant gloves and didn't think to use them. There you go. Now you will. Rose Red Homestead taught me. I'm going to subscribe to her channel. I'm going to check that out. But yeah, this is a big part of canning. I was talking last night to somebody, and I was watching another prepper channel, a video they put up about a grocery haul. And it's like, I gotta turn this TV off. The light keeps changing. Talk about doing, going out and spending $400 on groceries to stock up and be a prepper. And wanting to go buy, 100 boxes of different pastas and shit for long-term storage. And I'm like, that's not prepping to me. Yeah, store some food. But grocery hauls every month for long-term, instead of buying 100 boxes of pasta and have to put them in Mylar bags and all that extra expense, why not bulk materials and buy a pasta machine. And when you want pasta after SHTF, make your own pasta. You know, to me, that's more prepping. That's how I would handle it. I don't do grocery hauls for prepping items, you know. And he was talking, oh, I bought this stuff because it's great to barter with. And I think I did a video. If you are prepping items to barter with, you aren't prepping. My preps is everything I need. If I have to barter for something else, that means I didn't do my job right. You know, I will have everything my family needs. I'm not going to have to barter. If I have to barter something, I'll barter my knowledge, my skills. That's it. I don't know where you could get gunny sacks now. I don't even, you know, half the people, probably 70% of the people in this country don't know what a gunny sack is. Never heard of it. Some fruit, add a little lemon juice to keep it from turning brown, especially peaches and applesauce. Good tips. Thank you, sir. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I have to learn. And canning salt. I mean, when do you use canning salt? Do you put it in everything or just certain things? That's all new to me. Bill, what's going on? Helen. Oh man, how is everybody? Best to have a garden and can what you grow. At least save some. Absolutely, that's what I'm doing. I was talking to Gail about that. What I'm going to do tomorrow is build a couple of raised beds in the barn that I can take home and use in wheeling. And then I'm going to have a garden out here this spring. Today I was hoping that it would be dry enough because I want to get the tiller going and I want to till up a spot, not a big garden. It's not going to be a big giant garden, but I just want to test some stuff and see what will grow out here. And see what I have to do to the soil. But yes, in May, I think we plant in this zone around the first or second week of May. And I'm going to be ready. And I'm planting a lot of stuff to see what grows and a lot of stuff that I can learn to can with. I'll be canning everything out of my garden. But that's chicken prep. That's the perfect that you are so spot on. Can what you grow. Test driving my new Stanley French press coffee. Oh, Stanley makes one. I might have to try that out. Hey, Leroy, welcome, my friend. Farm on fours. I held my potatoes this week and started my sweet potato slips. Lettuce and radish. Hey, John, what's going on, my friend? Early things you can plant. How early? Because I would like to plant some lettuce, and I would like to plant some. I mean, I'm gonna have to look and see cold weather crops, what I can get started with. Just like I said, if I do, 10 heads of lettuce. I know that's not a lot, but I just want to try it and see if it grows. I'm, I'm probably going to have in Wheeling 6 raised beds. That's going to have all kinds of peppers, onions, zucchini, squash, tomatoes. Out here I'm going to do green beans and corn, and I'm going to try everything and see what grows. Let's see here. Hey Gary, what's going on? Last food frost date is May 15th. Okay, he's the man. He lives here, so we know. I add salt to my meat and vegetables. Keeps the freshness and color. All right, that's good to know. Bill, you'd think someone with a minimum of 1,500 canning jars would start planning and putting in. I know. I know where to go steal some canning jars if I can't find any locally. I've been looking on Marketplace for canning jars just to buy extras. Those things ain't cheap on Marketplace either. That's what I'm gonna have to put in my wish list on Amazon. I gotta add some canning jars. Uh, I'll put some seeds up there I want to try. Oh yeah, carrots. I want to try to grow some carrots. Thank you. I need to design a garden. I need to lay out the beds, what I'm going to plant where. I think I'll do that the next time Gary and I have breakfast. I'll give you a bunch of jars. I won't refuse them, Gary. Trust me. My grandparents used to burn off a seed bed cover with cloth to keep the frost off. I'm not going to try to figure it out. I'm just going to wait till after the frost and then I'll plant them. My grandfather tree is not budding yet. I plant after it starts budding. Oh, cool. Nick, do you know you were doing? Didn't know you were doing this at 8. Well, you know what? I'm out here at the cabin. I figured I could start at 8. I didn't have to worry about the dogs and everybody going to bed and people running upstairs and downstairs. That's why I started at 9 o'clock at home. But since I'm out here in the storms, I figure I can start it at 8. I didn't even know you tried to call. Sorry about that. Uh, who shed that Ed turned into the private warehouse? I don't know. I don't watch. Uh, okay. Did you need more? Tilling up my 10 by 30 garden bed for butternut squash after 3 years of revitalizing the soil. Any advice? Greg, you came to the right place to get advice. People, yeah. Gary, Malachi's Corner, somebody answer his question. But yeah, Nick, if you need more of those batteries, take those two that you got, put them in the top tray of the battery charger, and take two more out of the drawer in the bottom. And then when I get home tomorrow, I'll plug that in so that everything starts charging again. All right. Uh, add eggshell powder to the soil. Is that for Greg? Because I know Gary grows squash. He does good squash. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get Gary out here and help me get that tiller started because I don't remember how to start it. I was gonna do that today, but heck, you can't even hardly walk through my yard. It's so sloshy and full of water now. Did you fix the wheels on the tiller? No, I did not. I guess I should do that. I can take those in. I'll take those off tomorrow before I leave and take them into Mitch and have them fixed. Yeah, now, for Gary, I did talk to Tim down at the bottom of the hill with the hay bales, and he said about March he's done with the rotted ones. He kept the rotted ones in case of the cold weather, and he would have to like make a wall for his cows. He can't feed it to his cows, but he will bring a couple of those bales up here if it's not too late to till that into the soil, if you think that would do any good. But I want to till up an area out here and have, because this is not really good soil. So I will till it up and I will bear the expense of bringing out a load of dirt to do it. Chicken prepper. Has anyone tried coffee grounds in their garden? I haven't. I'm reading these questions and learning like you guys are. This is great. What time are you leaving tomorrow? Don't till it in. Just use it for mulch. Okay. I won't. I don't know yet. I'm gonna get up and make some breakfast and figure out what I'm gonna do. It's only gonna be a high of like 55 tomorrow now, and it's all wet. Everything is so wet. Hey, Arkansas Prepper, welcome, buddy. What's going on? But yeah, I'm not gonna hang out here much, Gary. We could do it next weekend. I don't even know what the weather's supposed to be next weekend, but we shouldn't have as much rain. That's what I'm hoping. Well, look, I'll talk to you. All right, Nick. See you, buddy. Have a good night. Yes, my grandfather used to put. Alexa thinks it'll be 66 tomorrow. Oh, maybe it changed. Because I mean, it only dropped down to 59 after the rain. It was 77 when I got out here. But then the storms came through. I usually till in some cow manure. Well, I'm going to till in some dirt just to try. Like I said, this out here will be an experiment just to see what will grow, if anything. The Bigfoot. Eggshells and coffee are long-term additives. Get a load of true compost and till it in. All right. Thank you, Bigfoot. Use the horticulture. Now, in my raised beds, I'm going to do that. I got all. We have so much blowdown of branches and trees, and limbs that I'm going to take a bunch at home to put in my raised beds, and then the leaves over it, and then put dirt in it. Uh, I mean, I'm half tempted to just go ahead and do raised beds here back behind the barn. Just go ahead and set everything up in raised beds. I can build a bunch of raised beds back there. And instead of trying to do, when Gary and I brought that tiller out here and we were trying to till the back behind the barn, there's so much clay, and flat tires on the tiller probably didn't help. But I might just wind up going ahead and saying, okay, let's just build a whole bunch of raised beds right now to try. I'm going to put my fence around it. Ants are bad in raised beds in the weeds. Oh, wow, I never even thought about that. That's funny, Greg. Can't you get a plow for your tractor? Yeah, if I could get a bigger paycheck. um, Hello, 800 tomato plants ready to go in the ground here in West Texas. Just, I'm thinking till my property last week. Last frost here in El Paso is usually March 21st. Wow, 800. That is awesome, dude. Spooky one. All right. I'm going to do 6 or 8 of them. Yeah, I figured you meant tilled. I read it as tilled. I didn't figure you killed your gardens last week. But that's funny, Gary. I forgot about the tires on that tiller. I need to get those off of there and get them fixed. So I'll tell you, speaking of, I forgot. I told you I take the lisinopril for high blood pressure. I mean, it's totally off gardening subject, but I wanted to bring this up while I'm thinking about it. The long-term effects, fatigue and brain fog, right? So I started this beetroot program because that's supposed to do things to it makes nitric oxide, which is what the body produces to relax the blood vessels and arteries and things, makes the heart work less to pump blood through them. Well, I started taking that because old people quit making nitrous oxide. This should help and should help with the brain fog once I get off of the lisinopril. And I started doing lisinopril every other day. And it's only been a week since I started this, but everything is coming out fine so far. Everything's looking good. I got a couple weeks before I start weeding my beds and starting my seeds. Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious how much I'm going to do by seeds and how much I'm just going to go buy the plants at the nursery. I think out here I'm going to do seeds. Uh, I mean, if I had a big greenhouse, Gary gave me a greenhouse, but I don't know if, with me not being out here during the week, if I should plant seedlings inside that greenhouse. I can plant them all at home. Have you ever been? No, but everybody has told me I need to go there. Oh yeah, that's something I want to try out here too. Is potatoes. Because that tiller I bought off of Gary, it's got the hiller and all those attachments for it. Seeds take a bit longer to grow, but I got my own seeds. I think since I'm just testing the waters out here, I think what I put out here, uh, I'll probably buy plants. You know, the tomatoes and the peppers, that kind of stuff, I'm going to grow in Wheeling. I'm not going to try to grow that out here. I want to put out here things that don't need a whole lot of maintenance. I want to plant some corn. I want to plant some beans, some squash, some zucchini, potatoes. Things that don't need carrots. They don't need a lot of everyday maintenance like we got to do with our peppers and tomatoes and stuff like that. I'm going half and half seed and greenhouse this year as a test. Awesome, dude. Do you have a YouTube channel, Greg? Because I would like to see how the test goes. I want to be in on that. Morning light, evening, Canada, welcome. The U.S. is not allowing seeds into the country, so there is bound to be a seed shortage soon. I'm sure of that. Let me tell you something. We're in this live chat. We're talking about gardening. We're talking about canning. We're talking about self-sufficiency and being prepared. we are the kind of people our governments don't like anymore, because we can take care of ourselves. We're not going to try to be reliant on a system, and they don't like that. So this is just one more thing they're going to try to do, controlling the seeds, so that we can't do this if they can stop us. Buy some tubes for those tiller tires. Save the flat tire problem. Yeah, I'm going to tell you, in the gas station where I work, they do all the tires in there. I'm just going to take them off and say, here, Mitch, fix these. I've harvested garlic twice a year for the last 6 years off of one planting. Wow. Yeah, I got to do garlic, because that you just kind of do and don't touch, except to harvest, I think. Chicken pepper. I like the idea of growing potatoes because it gives you so many things you can make, like fried, baked, boiled. Absolutely, absolutely. We use a lot of potatoes in the things that we cook. We're always buying potatoes. That's why I want to try to grow some. You have to be there when it's time to harvest. Yes, indeed. I mean, I will be here for harvest. There's no doubt. I do, but not active at this time. What? Yeah, life gets in. Well, doesn't life get in the way? Oh my gosh. That's why I'm trying to go with heirloom seeds as much as. That's the only thing I'm going to buy. Now, I have in my wish list on Amazon uh, a whole thing of non GMO heirloom seeds, a whole pack. And they're not expensive, but I want to get those uh, for the ones I want to start the seedlings in wheeling, because I think all my peppers and my tomatoes, a lot of those, I'm going to try to start some of those from seed. I will buy some, but I'm also going to try some from seeds just to learn. And then I'll have to learn how to harvest the seeds out of those plants. I think we can do this. I mean, to me, that's all part of prepping. And I'm not talking about prepping for the end of the world or prepping for survival or whatever. I mean, it will be for survival. But for the fact that we are not going to be able to afford groceries pretty soon. We already have to cut back on everything. So the more we can grow and the more we can learn, the less we have to spend on that part. Well, heck, I just, Malachi's Court, I might just meet you at Ed's one weekend and do it. We'll drive down there and pick some up. Go have lunch, then I'll pick up some garlic off of you. I started the YouTube channel for an IndyCar podcast idea I had, but things got weird. Oh, okay, yeah. Teresa, it looks like it may be for survival the way things are going. Yeah, I mean, I just don't want I did that rant, and I don't want. I think what happens when you are one of those preppers, like the one we talk about a lot, and some of those guys, you know, that consumes their life because they wish so bad for something to happen. That's all they want. They want it to happen so they can say, see, I told you, look what I'm doing, look what I got. I don't want my mindset to be that way. I just want to be prepared to, be able to have healthier foods and my choice of foods, and to save as much as I can, because, I'm not going to be around much longer, but these will be there for my kids, and maybe they'll learn how to do it. I just don't. I think these hardcore crazy preppers are just they're getting too weirded out. You can't learn anything from them. You know, buy your seeds at a seed and feed store by the ounce or pound. Better seeds and better value. I'm sure, Bill. I'm sure 100% you're right. But I don't know what to buy yet. I don't know what's going to grow or not. I don't know what I'm going to like, what's going to be work for me. So this first year is all a big test uh, to see what I can do out here, and then I'll just do the standard stuff we always do in wheeling. Um, Moonlight, Malachi's Corner. I would love some of that elephant garlic too. Oh wow, Southeast West Virginia. You're closer to where she goes than I am. How about that? We can all meet for lunch one day. Bring a truckload of garlic with you, Kim. I'm not a big prepper per se. I'm more of the survivalist. Yeah, I want to be prepped for. I want to try to motivate people to start prepping that don't, for when they lose their jobs or when crises like this whole bullshit with Iran is happening. So the cost of everything is going to skyrocket again. If you learned anything from the whole crap about COVID, is look at how greedy the businesses became during COVID, right? So that worked so well for them. Now, everything that happens, they try to scare you. It's going to happen again. All of this is going to skyrocket again. So you better run out now and buy everything. Well, I want people to be in a position where they don't have to run out and buy everything. And I'm going to show you how me, who has very little, is going to can and build my own pantry as we progress through this year. That's where we need to be, to where the next event that they throw at us, we won't have to sweat. We won't have to be afraid of it. You know? That's what I learned from COVID. So that's what I'm going to try to start practicing. What's the best substitute for toilet paper? A bidet. I don't know. Greg, I would just like to depend on myself 100%. That's the whole plan. My idea for a long time when I wanted to start out here and get this going, I don't know how. But I don't want to rely on this my whole life has been debt and consumerism. And I want to get away from that. I don't want to live a life of debt and consumerism anymore. I want to live out here with no debt and grow everything and as much as I can. Now I'm still going to need to buy. I mean, I can't, disappear and survive everything. I'm still going to go to the store and get milk. I'm still going to do, I mean, I can talk to one of the guys out here has cows. I'm sure he butchers cows. I can buy beef, that kind of stuff. And I'll have my own chickens and I may do meat rabbits. I don't know yet. Gail's not too hip on it, but I might try it. Frank, Sears catalog. That's a good substitute. Yeah, but Sears doesn't even make a catalog anymore. Uh, Hey, Susie Cats. Sorry I'm late. I thought it was 8, not 7. Oh, washable. Yeah, there's a whole thing. Yeah, that people do. They use washable rags, cotton diapers. Make squares out of them. Use that as toilet paper, and then wash them. So you're not, nothing ever gets flushed down, and you're not having to go out and buy toilet paper. So that's another excellent option for people. I've never tried corn cob, but it makes sense. Yeah, you use old socks. So yeah, you could come up with some substitutes for sure. Ouch on the ground. I know. I was thinking the same thing, Teresa or Susie. I was thinking that same thing. The Amish use corn. Yes, they do. Indeed, they do. I don't know how I would store. I mean, people hoard all these toilet paper and paper towels and stuff. I've had a few rolls of toilet paper in the barn that the mice have eaten it all. I didn't buy it to hoard it or anything. It just happened to have it, and I put it out there, and that did not last very long. Yeah, baby wipes are good, but you got to buy those. Those ain't cheap to keep, and you're not going to be able to, if SHTF happens, you're not going to be able to go to the store and buy baby wipes. See how one simple example can have many solutions. Yes, that's what, and we all talk about our different ideas. That's what this live stream is going to become. Greg, I'm Gen X. We drank from the hose. What's wrong with the other end? This is true. Yeah. That's why I said a bidet. You can rig up a bidet. All right. What else are we going to chat about? Anybody else have anything exciting happen to them this week? Yeah, you can rig up a bidet pretty easily. We're truly on our own. This government has become what the Constitution talked about. All bought off and paid for. Yep. That was the gist of my video I put up earlier today. We have been abandoned by our government. We are no longer considered American citizens to our government. We are a commodity item. That's all we are to the government anymore. you know so we truly are on our own, and there is only one way. I talk about this many times. There's only one way to fix the mess that we're in. Yeah, I remember outhouses. Geez, just up 20 years ago, my sister had an outhouse or 25 years ago, had an outhouse in Adams County, Ohio. That's what they had. Fort Erie muzzleloader shoot tomorrow. Man, you were into that muzzle. I love it. I swear, me and Gary are going to have to schedule a weekend to run up there for one of your competitions. That's got to be awesome. I definitely would. Oh, hey, there's 44 people here. Do some thumbs ups. Do some likes. I keep forgetting about that shit. The government for the slaves to keep us working and taxed. Exactly. You know, we are now, if you think about it, I said we are now commodity items to our government and the elite, the big business. We are trade, right? They trade our labor for other things. We have no respect anymore. We are not respected as a people anymore by our own government, who is spending trillions of dollars on everybody else in the world, but not spending it here on us. They take our money and give it to them. And that's what they've been doing for the last 30 years. I've been talking about it, that it was coming to this. I became a great grandma. Wow, at 63. Wow. Nice. I'm 68, not a grandpa yet, and I'm loving it. Morning light. I have no idea how I can survive the SHTF. I had trouble just getting the dog food bag open up. I hear you. I swear to God, you are in the right group, morning light. And I'm not going. Like I said, I'm not trying to tell people to press. SHTF was a different thing. Anyway, you get laid off from work or you wind up in a hospital with a bunch of. That's an SHTF event that's going to affect you. Those are the kind of things that, we spend extra money at the grocery store. Instead of having a 3-day supply of food, have a 7-day supply of food, then a 14-day supply of food. Those are the kind of things I like as far as being prepped. Now, out here at St. Bernard Acres, I have some freeze-dried foods and stuff that, we could go a few months if we had to. But I don't want to think about that kind of stuff. I don't want to prep in that mindset. I can't get the wrapper off the cheese. Uh, yeah, so Susie gets uh, the prize for the best thing that happened during the week to someone. It's with my jackknife. I love it. Well, the good news is, for me at least, uh, the dollar store had Dr. Pepper Zero on sale today. I can't believe I had to pay $12 for 3 6-packs. Used to be 3 6-packs for $5. Yeah, if there's any reason why we have to come up, like I said in today's video, with a solution, we have to collaborate. We have to get a group together that can actually do something about what's going on in our country. just so that our grandkids get to enjoy a life. The new puppy is driving me nuts. Well, I've had my puppies for 3 years and he's still driving me nuts. I'm gonna tell you, I used to think that oh, stop it, Susie. All right. There's thank you. There's 3 more 6-packs I can go buy now. All right. That's what I gotta stock up on is Dr. Pepper. I gotta figure out how to freeze dry it. My wife and I prep for lack of employment, not SHTF. If public services are intact, we're good for 2 months at any time. There you go. That's great. That's your own STF. That's the kind of STF I like to plan for. You know, to to get into with all of the solar. Oh, you got to have all this much solar. You got to have this battery bank. You got to have this propane generator. You got to have all this stuff. That is so expensive to get set up on something like that. You know, I have solar power. I know how it works and I have some, but it is very, very expensive. So I don't try to tell people you got to run out and do this. You know, let's get our food in order. Let's get our water in order first. You know, that's all I want to encourage people to do. You know, the last thing you want to do is go hungry. And I look at it as, say there's a flood and you go 10 days, you're not going to be able to leave your house to go get anything. Or the power's going to be off for a week or two. You know, have the things at home that you don't have to risk your life to get out and go get something, and you're not going to go hungry. You know, simple things, an alternative way of cooking something. So your electric stove is not going to work. You have a grill, you have a barbecue grill, you have a griddle, you have propane, you have the little butane camp stoves that they sell at Walmart you can go buy. I cooked on those in this cabin for a long time. I have 2 of them here that I could cook on. When I was off grid, I didn't have the electric power. So those are the kind of things I want to help people get prepared in those manners. Um, I can't even get, I hear you, Teresa. I can't get my kids or grandkids to come to the cabin. Helen, he's a happy puppy, Malachi. And he's like, absolutely. I love watching the videos of him. He looks like a big bundle of joy to play with. And a complete 100% terror for the next few months. Dr. Pepper, I just noticed you said that, Susie. Uh, yeah, 30 grand for a solar system isn't in my budget either. Yeah, Morning Light, I think I can buy the Dr. Pepper syrup and everything, but I would have to look into that. Yeah, solar clothes dryers are the best. Ernie, hey Joe, I just watched your earlier rant and I agree it's all about the rich getting richer. I feel bad for the people need our help. But what about us? Exactly. That was the whole point of that, Ernie. What about us? Hot Rod. Hot Rod Ron. How you doing, Mr. Joe? I'm doing great, bud. And no, I'm not fired up anymore. Y'all were kind enough to let me get all that off my chest. So now I'm back to being fun, having fun. I figure I got solar generators, gas generators. Yeah, it's just some backup. That's all. We could go a week without having electricity. You got some candles, kerosene heater if it's winter time, or if you have a wood stove in your house. Those are not, I don't want anybody to be in a position where if they go for a week, they go into a panic and they put themselves in danger to try to go somewhere and get something. So let's just be at home. Say, okay, I know I can sit in my house for 2 weeks and never have to leave it. We will have water. We will have food. We will have heat. We will have what we need. You know, that's where I want people will feel comfortable there. What is it? 95%, 96% of the people in the United States could not last 2 weeks if tragedy struck. We got to get that past 2 weeks. Uh, but thank you for asking, Hot Rod. I appreciate. I found 25-pound bags of baker's flour for $15. Wow. Nice. I was going to do a video on vacuum seal. I found the same kind of deal on flour. I bought a 25-pound bag. And I was going to do a video on how I vacuum seal. Put that in a paper bag and then put that in the vacuum bag. Put the paper bag in the vacuum bag. That way you're not sucking flour up into your vacuum sealer. Tell us how you really feel about Iran. I know. You know what? I mean, I hate to be that way because all of my life has been very important to me. I want to preface that rant. I should have prefaced it with this. All of my life, it's been very important to do whatever I could do to support my president and support my country. I loved my country more than anything. I was so proud to be an American. And they've taken that away from me. That's just one more thing they've stolen from us. You know, my pride of being an American citizen, they have taken away. And I can't support them anymore. I was always a staunch defender. Maybe not the person, but at least the office. You know, there was nothing I liked about uh, Barack Obama, but I respected the office and I respected what he did. I tried to, but I can't do that with anybody anymore. They all got to be, the entire system has got to be voided completely. Then we start over. Then we can fix it. Restore orders it. Restore orders it for the Amish because they use a lot of flour. All right. I had to deal with wheat flour has too much garbage in it, and was messing with my digestion. I switched to oat flour. Now, what about I thought of this when we were talking on the phone. What about wheat berries? Get the wheat stuff and grind your own flour. Grow wheat and grind your own flour. Um, instead of buying bags and bags and bags of it. Can you do that? You know? I enjoy oatmeal pies. I always have a box of oatmeal pies here in the cabin. They say freedom isn't free, but what are we trying to be free from? I have a couple gallons of wheat berries just for that, Joe. Yeah, I was wondering about that. I might have to get a wheat grinder and do that myself. Just because I think that I look at prepping, if you're going to do long term prepping, that's the kind of stuff you get into then. Because wheat berries you can store forever, and anytime you need flour, you just grind them up and make your own flour. That way we don't have to stock so much. They sell wheat flour that hasn't been sprayed with stuff and Roundup. I may order some. Yeah, that's what we got to get away from. That's why I am so now just dead set on doing gardening. I have to do it just because I want to learn it. I figure I learned how electricity worked. I learned how solar worked. I learned how building a cabin works. I learned how septic system works. I learned how to install a septic system. I should be able to learn how to do a garden. I don't know. Maybe gardening's harder. Order wheat from Europe, growing your own. All us vets have betrayal trauma one way or the other. Oh, yeah, we've been, well, again, we are totally abandoned. Our government is gone. We have got to start thinking that way. We have to start accepting the fact that our government has abandoned us. We are on our own 100%. Right? They did as much as they could of getting everybody on some form of government assistance so they can say, look, we're paying this, we're paying your housing, we're paying your medical, we're paying this. You do everything we say and you shut up and sit there and take it. And that's what people do. I'm not taking it. I don't have any government assistance. I'm not taking it. I want those people gone. Nobody's going to hold them accountable, so we have to take it upon ourselves. And you can plant wheat berries to grow more. Yes, I think that's an overlooked prepping thing. We need a complete tear down and rebuild. Absolutely. That's the only way to fix our situation. Chicken prepper, that's what we're trying to do to get away from buying all that food with all who knows what's in it. Yeah. You know what's surprising if you think about all this food that we buy here in this country? When you stop to realize and you start doing the research, how much of this stuff is banned in other countries? They won't let it be sold to their citizens. What they're selling to us, they're not allowed to sell in other countries. Yeah, wild edibles should be a whole, I mean, you should do a whole thing on that on your channel, Kim. You should start doing videos on uh, wild edibles and how to look for them, how to identify them, how to cook them, how to use them. You should, foraging. You should do a whole video series on that. Maybe you could teach Ed how to do it. Or tell Ed to appoint somebody to do that. He can assign that for somebody to do there. Go out and get some foraging for us. The Off-Grid Suburban Project. I survived the super flood because I prepped and drove to higher ground. The local, state, nor federal government showed up. It was other Americans who showed up. Absolutely. There it is. There's a perfect example of why you should be doing this. Why we should practice this. That's a perfect example. That's why I said give yourself 2 weeks. Just make sure that you can live for 2 weeks and never have to leave your house. Every week when you go grocery shopping, remember whatever you're buying, you're not even going to touch for 2 weeks. You're going to have a 2 week rotation of your food. So what you buy this week, yeah, you're going to have to buy it. Don't say, well, I've already got this stuff, so I'm not going to buy anymore. That's the mindset you got to get out of. That's what they've taught everybody. That's just-in-time inventory. That's how all these stores work, is just-in-time inventory. They want you to think that way so that you have to go every day to the store to buy what you're going to cook that day. So you got to get that out of your mind. You have got to realize, you have got to make a point, okay, here's my grocery shopping list, but I'm not going to touch this stuff for 2 weeks because I already have it here. I just have to make sure I have it 2 weeks from now. And you got to develop that habit. You got to start thinking along those lines and not the just-in-time inventory and the immediate satisfaction. If you can get your mind trained that your shopping is 2 weeks ahead, you are going to win the game. You are going to come out on top for sure. The only thing Ed can afford is Taco Bell. He does talk about that, doesn't he? I'm wondering how much weight he would take off if he ate all that rice and beans that he stockpiled. Yeah, I mean, if he cooked, it'd be different. Robert, what's up? Hey, Joe. It's Bob in Missouri. Was in nursing home from December to last month. Glad you got out, bud. I hope things start improving for you. I've lost 40 pounds since topping the wheat and have not felt this good since I was 30-ish. The working gig keeps me exercise too. Yes, I agree. All I'm eating anymore is wheat bread. The Off-Grid Sperm Project, 13 hours. No one is coming to save us. 100% correct. If something happens, nobody is coming for you. Right? I have not, the last time we ever heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the last time we ever heard that FEMA tried to help somewhere and blew the response was all the way back to Katrina. What has FEMA done since then? Where have they been? We've had plenty of natural disasters and FEMA doesn't do anything. Do we still have a FEMA? I mean, there's proof to you that this government is leaving us on our own. They're not coming to help us. They don't want to help us. All right, today, turnover in food on grocery store is every day and a half. So if SHTF, you got basically 2 days till no food. That's exactly correct, Teresa. I mean, that's just-in-time inventory. That's how they work. Have a lower right leg removed December 9th, 2025, probably. I'll be darned. Well, something you get to adapt to. That's something you got to be prepared for. Price of fuel is going to show up in the grocery stores. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I talked about that today. Diesel's gone up $1. You think Kroger's going to pay for that? You think Walmart's going to pay for that? No. We are going to pay for that. Like we pay for absolutely everything. The businessman is not going to pay anything for that. It's all on us. Absolutely every decision this government makes affects me and you. because we're going to foot the bill no matter what they decide to do. We are footing the bill. It's taking money out of our pockets. All that all that tax stuff and all these tax credits, it didn't do much, you know? But now tomorrow, when Walmart has to drive their trucks to their stores, you look at it, okay, now that, you know, 200-gallon tank that we got to fill in our trucks costs us an extra $200 to get you to that store. We're going to mark up those groceries to compensate for that extra fuel cost that they had to buy. Robert, time to be prepared. Yes, we have to do it now. I want my tariffs back. You're never going to see those tariffs. This old Suburban has solar, MRE stashed, shotgun ammo, 14 gallons of water, some life straws, ham radio, weather band radio. My concern, the gas, oh yeah, can the gas tankers even make it to us? No. You know, it's not bad. I mean, the one thing that Ed does, that Prepper Nurse One does, that I think is a good idea, and he actually rotates the gasoline. He always keeps 30 or 40 gallons of gasoline available. You know, he takes those cans, puts those in his vehicle, and goes fills up the cans again. That's a good idea. I like the way he does that. That's the only thing I give him credit for being smart to do. I don't know who told him to do that, but somebody must have. It's not only the fuel, it's brokers now not posting the load boards. I know, the trucking industry, I'm telling you, man, I feel so bad for that. But he lives in the middle of nowhere. He would burn through that gas in no time, Joe. I agree, but when you store gas, what I'm talking about is storing the gas for, a couple of weeks if you needed it. Not for long-term prepping because it's not going to last. But he's always got 20 or 30 gallons of gas available to him no matter what happens. If the normal person like us, he's not normal. But if I had at home 40 gallons of gas, now I got about 20 gallons of gas in the barn right now because I do the same kind of thing. But that's just to let my generator run a few hours a day, things like that. If we went through a 2-week period where we had no electric and we had to wait for the electric to be fixed. I'm thinking along, again, just a couple of 3 weeks. That's all I'm prepping for at home. What about Christy Nome spending 200? I know. You know what, Ernie? I said that in my video today, too. I feel bad. I absolutely adored Christy Nome. When she was governor of South Dakota, I loved that woman. I just thought she was the best. And I told everybody on here, I've mentioned it many times, if Donald Trump would pick her as his running mate, I would vote for Donald Trump. I just believed she was what this kind of country needed. But look what she turned out to be. That to me, I think what happens, I had talked about this before about becoming desensitized to things. We're all desensitized to stuff. And as an example of what I mean by desensitized, all the way back to, if y'all remember, Susan Smith. And some black guy carjacked her and took her 2 little babies, and, nobody knew what was going on. And the whole country was like, weeping because what happened to this woman and her two little babies, and we were so concerned and everybody praying for her and trying to help. And what was it? She did it. She killed them. And after that point, I got to where I don't let myself get emotionally involved now. You know, when tragedy like that happens, I don't get emotionally involved. This Nancy Guthrie thing, okay, you found nothing for a friggin' month. You're not gonna find it. I don't care. Quit telling me about it. I became desensitized to human tragedies because of events like that. What Christy Nome has done to me, because I had so much, I believed so much in her, she's destroyed me and me believing in people anymore. That there is any hope in people anymore. That's the kind of shit that's dangerous. Okay, I got off of that tangent now. I'll get back to this. Um, since the flood, about 3 5-gallon jerry cans. Keep one in the Suburban. We'll buy 2 more, 4 40-gallon propane tanks, etc. I'm on my SSDI. My goal is to get a month supply. There you go, man. Off-grid Suburban prep. That's perfect. That's how you do it. You're not gonna you can't go out tomorrow and be prepared to last 3 years. You have a plan. You make a plan. This week I'm going to buy this extra gas can. Oh, I found a 100-gallon propane tank on Marketplace. I'm going to go buy that tank. And then I'm going to save up, take it, and have it filled. Okay, now I got my propane covered. Just baby steps till you build up what you need. You can't do it overnight. Have charcoal grill with fuel for it. Just bought the stovetop pizza. There you go. Yeah, I mean, I'm set up. I probably should do a video, maybe I will on my other channel talking about, you know, I have those propane cooktops or butane, not propane, butane stoves. I've got 2 cases of the butane bottles that go in them. They're there, ready to go. I used them here. I can cook a half a dozen meals on one of those propane cans, little propane cans. I can cook a half a dozen meals. So give me a case of that. I can cook for a week. As simple as that. And those things only cost $20. Uh, let's see. I'm sick of Nancy after. Yeah, I know. You're worried about Christian Home. Did you vote for open borders and Kamala Harris? Absolutely not. I couldn't even, that's a dumb question. I wouldn't possibly do it. I just think that Christy Nome let this power go to her head. I think she was put in a position that she wasn't ready to manage that big a department. And I think a lot of the stuff that Christy Nome took credit for, Tom Homan did. Right? Tom Homan is fantastic. But I think Christy Nome got the spotlight where Tom doesn't get the spotlight. So she got in over her head as director at Department of Homeland Security. So, and then she took advantage of that position. So, yeah, I was very disappointed in her. I do not buy it. I'd not buy a solar oven. Easier to get charcoal fired oven. But yeah, I've never thought about a solar oven. I wouldn't. You can make one. You know, I don't think they're going to do the thing. Yeah, I agree with you, Ernie. She just, I mean, you know, you got to wait for all the facts to come in. You got to think about what you're saying. Trump has that same problem. He just runs his friggin' mouth. But unfortunately, because we don't do our job as American citizens, Trump doesn't have to answer to anybody. If we did our job as an American citizen, he would have to answer to us. She had to answer to him. And she had to answer to the Senate, you know, and the Congress. She had to be held accountable. She just ran her mouth like Donald Trump. I'm thinking propane. It did go up a lot. I couldn't believe I met a guy Wednesday. Somebody broke my tail light on my pickup truck, punched a hole in my tail light. Well, I found a pack of, or I found a thing on Facebook. Guy had two taillights for my model F-150, right? The taillight lenses for $10. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. So I drove up to Wellsburg, you know, met him at a gas station to pick up those taillight lenses. And I happened to look over the propane there, the replace, you know, you take your empty in, pick up a full one, right? That was up to $29. And you don't get 20 pounds in those. You get about 70% full when you do the swap out in those places. It's much better to take them to a propane refilling station. Was Biden ever held accountable? No, nobody's been held accountable for the last 30 years. That's what I'm complaining about, 46. You know? We don't hold them accountable. They have to answer to us, and we don't make them do that anymore. You know? So they run wild. They just do whatever they want to do at our expense. Watch my earlier video today. Then you'll understand how I think and my thought process. Uh, but let me tell you something about propane too. There's a big difference between 20-pound propane tanks and 100-gallon propane tanks, right? For this cabin, I have a 100-gallon propane tank. It's a big tank out behind this cabin. That gets 100 pounds of propane. Now, no, I got that backwards. I'm sorry. Your 20-gallon propane tank that you have for your grill is different than the 100-gallon propane tank I have out here. It takes four. Oh God, I got this backwards. Now there comes the brain fog. Anyway, take it and get it filled. It's a whole lot cheaper. Um, the Democrats weaponized the FBI to frame Trump. It didn't work. No, because it's not a. The FBI is part of them. You know, that kind of stuff is done for show. That's all that is. It's never going to happen. We, the people, have to make the change. I don't care anymore. Whatever the government, whatever they want to do, they're going to do it because I, by myself, am powerless to stop anything. If I can get a group of us together, and by group I mean a large group, then we can take down this bastardized form of the United States government and change it out to what it should be and start it over again and wait till that one gets out of hand. I mean, none of these people are ever going to be held accountable. They have built a wall around themselves that a single citizen cannot breach. That's where we come from. That's where, you know, that's why we as preppers have to take care of ourselves. Nobody is going to come to save us. Off grid suburban project said it perfect. Nobody's coming to help us. Whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, anything, nobody's going to come and help you. Whoever you voted for, they don't give a shit because it doesn't matter. They're not coming to help you. They have proven that on too many occasions. They don't care about you. You are a burden, especially us older folks. We are a burden to them. They want to take us out, you know? You know what? But Trump, let me tell you, Teresa, yeah, he has open cabinet meetings. You know, Trump is doing shit behind the curtain that we have no idea of. You know, because the cabinet is career politicians. They're not going to do anything to screw up their career. They're going to retire from this. So you can't believe what they're showing you. It's not true. It's all just smoke and mirrors. We can't get behind the curtain to see who's pulling the strings. No, they won't, you know, they won't help us. They have us where they want us because they have found a way to make us all hate each other. You know, again, I mean, I'm repeating what I said in the video, but it used to be we disagreed. You know, oh, I disagree with you on that one. We can't do that. We don't disagree anymore, right? I hate you for that. You think that way, I hate you. And every place they find a little crack to fracture our collectiveness, they drive that wedge in there further and further to make us all hate each other. And as long as we all hate each other, we can't come together to correct this situation. And now it's so blatant they don't even give a shit. You know? Who is supporting attacking Iran besides Israel? Who's supporting us doing that? Who thinks that's a great idea? After last year, they told us they completely decimated Iran's nuclear program. There's nothing they can do now. Okay, we'd fix that. Hey, what's going on? You should have been around. We were actually talking about prepping and everything. That's Ron, by the way, guys. Buy his books, man. He's got great books on prepping. All right. What's going on, folks? I'm telling you, I got off on my tangent again. I hate when I do that, but I love it. And you know what? I'm fine if the internet gets disrupted. You know, it's like, again, I said in the video, we have a state sponsored media that tells us what our government tells them to tell us and ways to manipulate us. And 90%, well, 70% of the Instagram reels and that shit is all AI now. Everything is becoming AI. You cannot trust a single thing that the news tells you. We are blinded. All of this technology has done nothing but blind us and cripple us as a people because they don't tell the truth. You know, I guarantee you 80% of all the Instagram reels or TikTok reels or whatever that deal with what's going on over in the Middle East is AI. It's not true, you know? And that's the problem. People see it on there and that's what they believe happened. And I I love the internet. I thought it was the greatest thing in the world, but I'm beginning to think, okay, this was a tool they used to really make us all mush brains because we believed that stuff. I believe none of it. Half of the videos on YouTube anymore are AI. You want info on killing terrorists in Iran, you're not going to get it. You're right. You're 100% right, 46. And you know what? That's the Middle East. That's what the Middle East has done. That was what that worthless pile of sand is. Since the first two people stepped foot in that desert, they have been fighting. You think we can stop it? No, we can't stop it. Well, they kill Americans over in the Middle East. They're terrorists. Then don't have Americans over there. Why do we have to have embassies over there? You know, that's Cold War stuff. That shit we had in the 50s, we don't need it now. You know that if you're an American, you're at risk for terror strikes over there. Get out. You don't need to be over there. The only reason why we have relationships, the only relationships there are with anybody in the Middle East are who the rich can trade money with. It's all about the money. It has nothing to do with human rights or nothing. It's a waste of our money so that they can make more money. That's what this is all about. Israel wants to control all the oil in the Middle East. Let them. Who cares? If Israel doesn't like what the Middle East is doing to them, then move Israel. Get your ass out of there. Who are we? Yeah, once this war is over, then how many trillions of dollars are we going to have to spend to give to BlackRock, by the way, to rebuild Iran, to make them democratic, so 10 years from now, Iran becomes exactly what it is today. You can change all the friggin' regimes you want. They are going to go back to exactly what they are today, no matter how many trillions of dollars you throw at them. We'll have to go back to using bulletin boards. I absolutely agree with that. I used to love the old bulletin boards. Remember IRC, Internet Relay Chat? Remember back in the, I mean, we used to do the bulletin boards before there was even an internet. We had the Cincinnati Bulletin Board. I used to be on that, exchanging, text messages. That's all you could do. Then the internet was good. Iran claimed USS Abraham Lincoln was struck by drones in the Sea of Oman. Is a bunch of BS propaganda. Yes, it is. And that probably came out because somebody made an Instagram reel and said that's what happened. So that gets spread into uh, somebody believes what they read on Instagram, so they start talking about it, and it all gets pressed around. Okay, this is what happened. Nobody, nobody has attacked or destroyed one of our ships. They can't do it. Yes, it was AI. Absolutely. Everything is to warp our minds. Trump doesn't want an independent Iran. I don't think Trump gives a shit about Iran. That's the problem here. Israel wants an independent Iran that they can pick the leader, not Trump. You know, again, what benefit are we going to receive from this? What is going to benefit me as an American citizen that we have destroyed Iran? What am I going to get for this? You're using all of my money to do this. What am I going to get in return? We will get absolutely nothing. They will get all the money. That's what's going to happen. Yeah, we get the benefit of paying for it. Remember what Trump said? His first day in office, the Ukraine and Russia war will end. He will put a stop to it. No, we just pumped more friggin' money into it because it's a great money laundering scheme. That's going to continue on forever. You want the war to end in Ukraine? Quit sending them our money. Quit sending them our weapons. Let Ukraine do what Ukraine does. What did they do for me? Zelensky, I haven't seen a check from Zelensky yet. They do nothing for me. Why do I want to spend my money over there helping them uh, fight Russia? Why do I care if Ukraine is in NATO? No reason. I don't care. Susie, what do you think about a giveaway of Ron's book since you had so many new? Yeah, I mean, I'll talk to Ron. We could do that again. That was fun when I was giving away all those books. That was pretty cool. I don't think Zelensky, neither do I. I think him and Vladimir Putin probably go off and have dinner and drink somewhere, laughing about the stupid American people who keep sending them all these weapons and all this money. You know, that's probably what's happening to us. See, now we got off the gardening and off the prepping and this kind of stuff, and look what we're into now. Oh my God. Let's talk about Ron Foster's books. Those are great books. Great books. Go on Amazon, there they are. Just do a search on Ron Foster on Amazon. His book on garden is great. His book on foraging is great. It's good stuff. Greg, thank you so much for stopping by, buddy. We really appreciate your input and your ideas and your questions. It's fun to have these kind of people in here. You have yourself a good night, my friend. I'm going to be getting off of here myself. Geez, I've been on here going on 2 hours now. My side is hurting from just sitting here and laughing so much. But rich people don't get rich by giving away their money. Exactly true. They get rich by taking our money and act like they are doing things on our behalf and for the better good of our country. That's why I said make it make sense. You know, give me the reason why. Before I approved a project getting done at Amity, somebody would come to me and say, look, we need to get this piece of equipment. We need to do this or something. Okay, explain to me where this is going to benefit this company. You want X number of dollars. What is going to be my return on this investment? Right? That's everything works on ROI, return on investment. What is our return on our investment in Iran? Think about that one. The entire business world, your job, the company that you work for, or if you own the company, everything involves return on investment. That's what we look at when we make a business decision on a capital improvement project or a new piece of equipment or anything. What's the return on that investment? What's the return we're going to get for the trillions of dollars we're going to spend in the Middle East now? If you just look at it that simply, you will then realize how bad we are getting screwed as an American citizen by our own government. They're doing it to us. Again, they have abandoned us. We're on our own. Anyway, thank you all for joining me on Saturday night. I started it early, 8 o'clock, but I hung around for the 9 o'clock crowd to come in. We had great discussions on gardening. Learned stuff, learned ideas about canning, what to grow. That's good stuff. Prepping ideas, off-grid suburban project. Great ideas on the prepping. Great conversations we had. Then we got into the political side of stuff, and that was great. I got to yell some more. I love it. But everyone go get Ron's books. Ron's, shoot me a message if you want to, do a few more giveaways. And every week in the live streams, I'll come up with a way of picking a winner, mailing them out. I'm glad I finally got everything mailed out from the last round. So yeah, let's get this thing going. But everybody have a wonderful night. Thank you all again for joining me and participating in my little gig here. And Malachi's Corner, Susie, thank you for the Dr. Pepper Fund. I'll go down and get me some more Dr. Peppers. I can take that home with me tomorrow. Get another 3 12 packs or 6 packs. But good night, everybody. I'll see you later. I'm out of here.